Okay, right, well, good afternoon everybody. I know it's been quite a while since I made a video, but things been as you are. I've had another brush with the hospital again. I took about a fortnight ago, sickness, whatnot, tummy bug. I thought I was really ill. Well, I was ill. I thought I'd pick up a bit of a sickness bug, but after 4 days of that, the wife phoned the hospital and got us taken in by ambulance, and of course my gallbladder had ruptured, and I spent 3 days in Crampton New Hospital recuperating, but taking my gallbladder out and stitches all up on the inside, so hopefully I'm back on the mend again. And of course this on top of the COVID and one thing and another, it's just been I don't know, it's been a crap year really, but we're fighting on, we're getting there. Bless him, Roger's been up there every day. I haven't been up the plot for this is the 3rd week now. Of course I can't do any heavy lifting whatsoever. I'm all stitched up inside my stomach, so I've just got to really take it easy. I managed to get out in the back garden. I can't do anything because, as you know by the last video, I took the old greenhouse down, the small greenhouse. And the last thing I managed to get done before I went into hospital was to put the new base down and get it nice and level, ready for the greenhouse coming on top. But that's going to have to wait for a couple of weeks yet. I will keep you updated on that once we get the greenhouse brought down, and we'll get it erected down here in this new space, and we can get some of the plants put indoors. As you can see, I'm at the back of me in my little bit of wonderful nature land at the back of my house, and of course what I'm going to do this afternoon is take the last crop of the nettles. I've got a water tank over there, and what I like to do is I like to keep filling up with nettles, because there's tons of nettles, there's loads all over the shop, and I've cut them up when they're nice and green. And of course the weather's going to start turning cold soon, so it's going to kill them off, so I'm going to get the last of the crop of these out into the barrels. And of course this barrel of water here, what it does, it feeds the muck bins. I've got 6 big builder's bags along the back there, and all my muck bins that I like to keep rotted down. And of course the nitrogen rich water which I put the nettles into, and I just keep pouring a half a watering can full over the compost. Every time I put some fresh compost in, I cover it with a bit of nitrogen rich water, and it does a world of good for decomposting, and they end up with some fantastic compost for next year. But as I say, they're free, they're here. All I need to do is gonna get me a little bag, and of course go around and put them all down. There's plenty there. I've had about 3 crops out of them this year, 3 or 4 crops, I can't remember now. But just when they start getting above the canopy, and I can just reach them nicely, because I don't want to stretch too far. I don't want to damage myself anymore than what the doctors have done. But I will get there. I'll get a bag full for that water bin there, and I'll fill another bag up. And what I'm hoping to do is to have a slow walk up the plot on Saturday morning with Roger and just see what he's been up to. I know the last video we were talking about putting the garlics inside, putting the large garlics that I'm just getting. They came from King's Seeds, great, lovely big bulbs. And what I'm intending to do is to plant them in ringless culture pots, put them on trays outside, and then they'll go inside the tunnel in January and February, and hopefully by doing that I'll escape the worst of the rust, because we're prone to it up here in the northeast. Leeks, any of the onion family, we can get rust, and garlics that really get hammered by the rust. So by taking them inside, hopefully I'll escape the worst of the rust. I have a nice clean plant. I know it's a bit extra work, but I like trying different methods. You can grow your garlic inside, but always remember your garlic must have a really good freezing temperature outside first, and that's why I like to put them in ringless pots, so I can just lift them from outside inside without doing any damage. Once the roots start appearing on the bottom and I've had a good frosting outside, then I can lift them inside, because your garlics will not split, they will not segregate if they haven't had that really freezing cold nights like most fruit do. I like them freezing cold temperatures, which of course breaks their dormancy and sets their fruit buds up the same as the fruit, and the garlics are no exception. They don't get that really good frosting, they're not segregated, and what you'll end up is just a big fat ball. But we'll talk about all that later on when we're up the pot and we'll get started in the garlic. I've got a few small garlics left. When you know I've planted my garlics, my main crop, in the 3 big bins I've got outside the polytunnels up the garden. Now down here I've grew some dahlias this year. I've got a few recycling bins, old recycling bins lying here, and I've had dahlias in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to gently just ease the dahlias out. I've got a couple that I want to keep. I've got a couple of doubles, so I'll be getting rid of the doubles. There's a couple I want to keep, and I'll have to take them up the garden because we're not having the greenhouse down here. I want to protect, or what I can do, I can put them in my garage for the time being, just in a couple of cardboard boxes. Take the tubers out, clean them up, make sure they're well labelled, and then put them in the garage, and they'll stop there until middle of December, when I can bring them into the greenhouse. If I put a little bit of heat on, and then I can set them away in January for some nice early cuttings. But what I want to do with these boxes, I'm going to put the last of the garlics in, because I did have a few garlics of my own that I saved from last year, especially the Isle of Wight province. They're great, the soft neck variety. Once again with your garlics, make sure you're growing the right varieties that you want, the soft neck and the hard neck. The hard neck tend to grow bigger, but they're not as reliable for lasting long for storage. And of course with the hard neck you get a scape growing, which is a long thin seed head that will come from it. Scapes are great if you want to cut them down and use them for salads and that, for a little bit of cooking, a nice light tinge of garlic to them. But the soft neck, don't throw scapes up. And what the soft neck are, they're a lot, they last a lot longer in storage. And of course you can get quite a decent bulb from a soft neck. You can get a decent sized clove of garlic, which I showed you sometime in the summer last year when I was digging mine up. So you know, I like the soft neck varieties. I like the Isle of Wight province, that's one of the good ones. But choose your own, whatever district you live in the UK, and you'll get a garlic to suit you. But the ones I saved from last year, I opened them up and I got a load of cloves of them. I was getting 14, 15 cloves of just one small bulb. So I've got quite a few still left, and I've got a handful of Jap onions that I didn't plant up the allotment. I had them left over. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take these odd dahlias out. I've got some comfrey grown in some of the boxes down here. It was just to fill the boxes up this year. So I'll be using the comfrey next year. Take the last of the leaves off. They can go in the water tank and all. And I'll take the last of the leaves off, and hopefully next year we'll get a nice big bushy plant that I can cut away the leaves, and they can go around the tomatoes for next year. Comfrey is a fantastic plant for that. Plenty of potash, so any of your fruit and your flowers, comfrey is a great mix. You can make a great put in your water barrels, you can make a nice dark mixture. The same as the nettle juice, whereas the nettle is nitrogen, the comfrey is potash. But what I will do next week, I'll get these dahlias out, and I might ask Roger to bring us a bag of soil down and some more compost, top them up, and I'm going to finish off these pots down here with some garlic and some Japanese onions. And I might pop a few spring cabbage, because we've got a few spring cabbage left over. And Roger's planted the whole tunnel out up the top there. All our spring cabbage are out. That's got Wheeler's Imperial. We've got big ones, we've got big round ones. The Spring Hero, they have all planted now. So the only thing we've got left to do now is get potatoes sorted, get them into trays, into boxes, and get them into shed in darkness, and they'll be ready for December planting. What I'm hoping to do in the next video is to say, get the garlics done. I'll show you around the polytunnels. I've still got seeds to sow. I've still got some which I haven't managed to do yet. I would have had them if I had the greenhouse down here. I think I would have put them in down here. I've still got some autumn cauliflowers to sow, so I might squeeze this into this video. I'll see how I feel on Saturday when I go up the garden. If I'm okay, I'll sit down, I'll do a little bit of potting off, nothing too heavy, and I'll sow the cauliflowers, get them in. And there's loads of jobs to be done. There's loads of building work still to be done, but unfortunately, where I am at the moment, I've just got to take my time. And of course, I want to be on the mend as quick as I can, so I'm doing as what they say at the hospital: no heavy lifting, no straining, no nothing, for at least 6 weeks. So I'm just going to plod on, take my time. There's some lovely flowers down there for dahlias. So I've got them boxes to empty out, and of course, like you see, if I've got enough garlic, I'll fill all them boxes with them all and some spring cabbage. But thanks for all your comments on the Facebook page when you found out where I had disappeared over the last couple of weeks. Yeah, I'm fighting fit now, and as I say, this afternoon I'm going to plod in here. I'm going to get a good load of nettles cut for this bottom bin here, get that rotted down, and I'll cut in a bag full from this end here, take them up the garden Saturday morning with us when we do the video, and I'll do the tank, because I did manage to get a couple of tanks shifted up there in the top tunnel in the allotment. If you remember, I was pulling one of the old benches down that was in the tunnel. Well, we've got that done. We pulled the old bench down and we've created a next big space. I've semi-leveled it out, and what I intended to do was put some staging tubes down and build another big raised bed in that space. We shifted the cement mixer over to the other side, so we've created quite a bit of space, but I'll show you all that when we get up the garden. Hopefully for next year it'll work out a little bit better for her. But that's it for the time being. I'm going to plod in here, get these nettles all cut on, get them put in the barrel, and then I'll give you a peek of me compost bins there over the next couple of weeks and show you how it's rotting down. Okay, so once again, hopefully Saturday morning we'll get up there, we'll get up the plot, and I'll show you what Roger's been doing up there, and we'll see how we're getting on with the rest of the seedlings, and we've got a little bit more potting off to do, but we can get that done next week. Okay, so I'll see you up there soon. Bye for now. Okay, well, good afternoon everybody, once again. Welcome back to the plot. It's been a few days since I started this video off, and of course we've got Storm Barbara to thank for that. I started this video off on Thursday afternoon. It was an absolute beautiful afternoon up here in the northeast, and of course from the Thursday night right until yesterday we've had strong winds and rain, and Saturday and Sunday I think were the worst. Really cold days, windy days, which would have still been a little bit poorly. I never managed to get myself out, so Sunday afternoon I got up here for an hour just to have a good look around, and of course I've been well impressed with the progress Roger's made. Now this is a new bed we're hopefully going to get built for December. I'll explain all this later on, because this is hopefully where my garlics are going to go. I'm building a 2-foot bed here, raised bed. It's going to be 2 foot by 4 foot. What used to be along the back end here was a big old bench that we used to store trays, pots, everything on, but since we've built the new shed, we'll put all that stuff up there and it's all out the road. So what we've done, we've took the old bench away, and we had an old bit of a heat bed along the back here that I used to stand pots and trays on. All that's been taken out now, all the tubing's been taken out, and this old boarding that's in here, this is going to come out, but unfortunately I can't do anything heavy for at least another 4 weeks, so that's just going to have to wait. Hopefully by November, end October into November, I should be fit enough to start work on this, and if I can get this bed built by December, I'll be over the moon. Of course we've got to fill it in. We've got plenty of space soil, all the tunnels are well topped up, all the beds are well topped up in the garden, so if we get loads of manure to add to it, I'm sure we can get this bed filled up by January and February, when I'll need it for the garlics, but I'll explain the garlics later on. There will be a couple of rows of early chickies goes in this bed as well, but the garlics will go to the back. That's east facing over this far end here, so the garlics aren't going to cast any shade over the potatoes, which shouldn't harm them. If you can notice on the big bed there, I should maybe take my camera over a little bit so you can see. Roger's got all our spring cabbage planted out. They're all like little soldiers there in the rows. 3 good rows of the round ones, the spring heroes, and along the front I've got the old favourites here, the Wheelers Imperial. They're fantastic small pointy cabbage if you want to try growing them. I have grew cabbages outside for a few years, Durham earlies, but as you all know they need netting, and we're plagued by wood pigeons up here, so for the last few years we've always grown our cabbages inside. Not only are we getting a fantastic crop, but they're cleaning the beds forward. I've always said that. I never have to flush my beds inside, and never have to use any chemicals on them or anything. By using cabbages, what the cabbage does, it takes all that excess salts and all them chemicals that are in the ground, takes everything out, and the cabbage will feed on that, not only will you get a first class cabbage come the springtime, but your beds will be nice and neutral, nice and clean. And then what we'll do, we'll come along, we'll take a reading with the numbers. If we've got to bring it up with lime or fertilisers, we can bring it up. And this year we'll get next year I should say, we'll get a first class crop of tomatoes to grow into there. But the beds are changed around every year. Well look, you've got 2 big tunnels and a big greenhouse, so we've got 3 beds we can work our way around every year, every 3 years. But that's the whole idea of it. We've still got some winter lettuce and some odd cabbages up on the top bench here, but no doubt in the next couple of weeks I'll be giving them away. We have done quite a bit of work in this main polytunnel here, and of course if you notice as well, our cement mixer which will be coming into use tomorrow morning. I'll be coming up with Roger. I'll not be doing any lifting or pulling, but I'm sure Roger will manage that quite easy. I'll get the Jenny sorted out, we'll get our mix going, and then we'll get a nice big mix made up for the last of the potting, the garlics, and I've still got some spring flowers at the top end of pot up, some polyanthus, some foxgloves, and all that'll just sit in the bottom tunnel over the winter. But I'm well pleased with the cabbages. As I say, when I was in hospital for them 3 days, Roger spent a good couple of days up here getting them all sorted out. Well chuffed with them, and of course they're nice and lovely and clean, really healthy. The only thing I don't do is what I do with the cabbages on the outside in the summer, is to wrap rhubarb leaves around the root, because we know these beds are nice and clean. We don't have any trouble with cabbage root fly, especially in the winter, or club root. The beds are nice and clean. Of course already that heavy rain is pouring through the top of the roof there. This is where we've got the real big split right on the top. I've managed to put a couple of lats on just to hold it down for the time being. And we've got debris netting on the outside holding the polythene down, but that's going to be repaired in February of next year. As I say, you're never out of 1 year and you're talking about the coming season. So this is a big job for next year. We'll probably need about 4 or 5 hands up here. I'll get my son up, his mate, my other brothers, and there'll be about 4 or 5 will put the polytunnel sheeting on, because it's a 40-foot tunnel by 14-foot, so it takes a lot of doing, and me and Roger can't manage it by ourselves, so no doubt we'll call the troops in to give a hand with this one. But yeah, well pleased with that so far. We've got some winter broccoli there. No doubt I'll find a space for them. They'll probably go in the other greenhouse, so I might plant them out next week. It's a nice little job that I can just paddle on with. But this afternoon what I wanted to do, I've still got some old compost off the last mix up in the top 100-foot greenhouse. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start one of my garlics off today, and I'm going to show you how I like to start my elephant garlic off. Now my main crop garlics outside in the tunnels outside in the 3 big pots. The big tanks that I've got outside the tunnel, put the garlics in there. Jap onions are out, they're growing great, only small. A lot of controversy online at the moment about people planting jap onions. They do what I see on the tin, overwintering onions, so you don't want to get them any special treatment. I never have. What I've done is getting planted, if I've had a few spare ones, I've maybe stuck them alongside the tunnel. But I never grow my jap onions inside, they're outside. They do what they're going to be doing. Exactly the same as a spring cabbage, exactly the same as your garlic. They need that cold spell outside. One of the main things with the jap onions is you don't want to get them too big before the winter turns cold. I like to just put them in around about middle of October, even up to November. I planted them and they grew really well, as long as they don't get any real heavy frost and snow. Because you mightn't think they're growing above, but by God, down below in the engine room, where all the goodness is, and the root balls, that's where they're starting. They're sending out them roots, and that's what you want. You wouldn't buy a good looking car with a crap engine in. And that's exactly the same with the jap onion. It's exactly the same with the garlic. You want a good onion set, and you want to get it in the ground, and you just want to let that engine do the work. That root ball, get that growing. It might look nothing through the winter, just keep them well weeded. And another good tip is to keep them well watered. You might think up here in the northeast that we'll get dry spells, but we do in the winter. You can have days without any rain, and if you get a wind blowing and a little bit of sunshine, it dries that ground out. That's the last thing you want, especially with the red onions, the red electric. They hate being dried out. The first thing you'll do in the springtime, they'll bolt. They'll send up the seed head, and you'll lose your onion. So what I like to do in the winter, just to go along with the hoe, and just check. If the moisture's not there, there's nothing to take my watering can, and just put a little bit of water along the side of the onion just to keep that nice and moist. It takes 5 minutes. 5 minutes of your time, that's all. And it just keeps them roots nice and moist. And of course in the springtime when it starts warming up, and that's when they're going to do that business. Down below they've got that root, nice big root system built out. And once it starts to warm up in the springtime, away they'll go. They'll shoot away into growth. I like for a little bit of nitrogen on them, a little bit of nitrogen on them. That's the only thing they'll get, because the soil's already well manured. A little bit of nitrogen on to give them that spring boost, and you get a first class Japanese onion. I've taken out in June, nice big onion, and of course you've got your land ready for sowing your later crops of beetroots, cabbages, anything you want, turnips. So you get really getting 2 crops. They're not taking up any extra space, you grow them properly. But I never start mine off in pots or anything like that. I just put them straight in the ground and just let them grow at their own steam. Nice and cool, nice and slow. Which is another thing I'll get on for the next video, the sweet pea, but we'll talk about that at the end of the programme. In the meantime, I want to get up there and get cracking on these first garlics. But as I say, the cabbages are fantastic. They're in there, they're a nice root ball. There's a few left over there. A really first class root ball on them. In the last video when I showed you how we grow them on, I always do it with my cabbages. Put them in cups and get a nice root ball on them and plant out much easier. But I'm over the moon with them, first class. They just did a great job. Well, we'll get up top and we'll get started on this garlic, okay? It is absolutely tipping it down. I thought I was boxing clever. As I say, we just got rid of Storm Barbara. And we've got another storm waiting in the winds. But I think we're getting the tail end of Barbara now. We've got another storm heading over tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday. Strong gales, winds coming in off the Atlantic. Going to hit the west coast first and then it's going to head over to us. So I think from tomorrow onwards we're going downhill. So really, I'm making the best of this day to come up. Get me a little video online and let you know that I'm still plodding on. Okay, right. Now, with the garlics, I always like to put a few inside in the polytunnel. We're now planting direct. What I like to do, if you've only got small garlics, I've got some small ones here, like the little Isle of Wight province, the little small cloves. You can put them in pots like that. That's only a 6-inch pot or a 5-inch pot. You can use a long rose pot, whatever. But you must remember, you're going to have them garlics in here till about January or at least February. Because what you don't want to do is to put the garlics inside before they've had a really good frosting. I mean a really good frosting. You want at least a dozen nights when the temperature's been down to minus or 0. Really good frosting, really cold. Because that way, the bulbs will get at cold temperatures and the bulbs will split and will segment. If they don't get a cold temperature, they'll not segment, and all they'll end up with is a big single bulb. Sometimes if you're lucky, if the weather's really cold, when we first built our potting tunnel 15 years ago, I tried it. But what we had nets on the side at the bottom, and I left them nets open, just left the nets, no polythene down the side, just the nets, and that cold wind blowing in, freezing temperature, and I had a small bed at the bottom polytunnel before I built all the new beds. And I tried some garlic in there, and they grew really well. These were the hardneck type, and of course the centre scapes up. But we got quite good garlic out of them. A few of them were just the single bulbs, but the majority of them had segmented. So that's just a word of warning. If you want to plant inside, just make sure you put them in a pot first. And what we'll do, what I like to do is to fill half the pot with a mixture The good horse manure we've got here, and then I've got my own compost. All I need to do is just turn that into a little bit of compost. Just well rough, nice horse manure in the bottom there, and this is what's going to feed the roots. And what I like to put mine into is to put a large, got tomato growing, ring culture, and these are perfect. Half through with them, but what these will go on is a bread tray. And what I've got on with the bread tray, lift that over there. I've got 2 newspapers on the bottom of the bread tray. I haven't put any polythene on this time because I want to let the water run through. I don't want them waterlogging on the tray because these are going to sit outside on the bench right until January or even into February. If we don't get any cold spells by then, they'll stop out. They'll not get brought in any sooner than that. But by then we'll be able to lift them up and that should be full of root, solid root. And I can just lift them pots up and place them on that new bed that I'm building in the bottom polytunnel. I'll put them to the side for the time being, and then we'll start with this pot here. Put that one on there, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to fill it half up with this mixture of manure and the old compost. And I'm just going to force it down a little bit, just put a little bit of pressure on it so it's not loose. And a little bit on the top, we're halfway, that's lovely that. We're halfway up there, nearly 3/4, we're halfway up. To me that's perfect. Now this is nice and moist this, so I'm not going to bother putting any water in it. Once I go outside, I'll probably get a good soaking outside. Now everybody's been complaining that that garlic snare hadn't been turning up. There's the last of my Province White. Now I'm going to sow a few of them into small pots like that, just to show you at the beginning of next year how to go on about these. But my main ones today, these are the monsters. I love sowing these. That's the elephant garlic. Get them tipped out. I love growing these. And of course there we are there. The cloves are absolutely humongous. Massive, lovely big cloves. I've grown these for years and you get a first class garlic. Not as strong tasting. They're more like the leek family. Well of course they are leek, everybody's in the allium family. But they're not as strong as tasting the garlics you can get if you like your really garlic and strong. A lovely mild tasting, but it can be pretty expensive. But once you've got them, you can save your own time and time again. I've got about 6 down there that I saved from last year's. I put 2 cloves to one side and I got 3 or 4 of each one. And but I've sent away for some new stock this year because I've had them for about 5-6 years now. So even after 5 or 6 years, I like to replenish my stock, get some nice clean stock. And of course, king seeds are the ones I go to. These turned up last week, so I'm moving them home with that. Timed it just nice. So what I'm going to do with that, 1 clove of garlic, just the one, will be pressed in there in the centre of that pot. I'll do the rest tomorrow, and then top it off with just ordinary homemade compost. And I bring it up, just tamp it down. I bring it up to 1 inch below the surface of that pot, and that's it. That's that one done. It's just 1 inch below there. By the time that settles down, any rain now will permeate through that, get that a good soaking. If it gets too waterlogged, it'll drain out the bottom. The newspaper's there, but that will not stop the water from draining off. I usually put polythene on the bottom of mine, but that's when I start doing me spring bedding, me summer bedding. I put polythene on the bottom, newspapers, and it just acts like a big drip tray. You can water the bottom. I like to water everything from down below, as you know. But that's the tip of me elephant garlic. That's in now. I'll get the other 3 done tomorrow when I'm up here with Roger. And what we'll do, we'll get the mix made up. I've been potting, before I went in the hospital, I got most of the polyanthus potted up. That's a polyanthus here, he's been in for a while. I think I've done a little bit on the video the other week on these, I'm not sure. I'll have to look on back. But these need to go out on that back bench now. As well as the Bellis perennial. And of course I've got foxgloves there. The foxgloves are down there, they've been potted up. And and they're looking really well. So all these can go out on the back bench. If you're not too sure about your spring bedding, you don't think they're hard enough, and then just keep them in a cold greenhouse, put them in a cold frame or stick them on a sheltered bench, which is where these will go, and they can quite happily sit there all over the winter. Quite happy with them. I can plant them out in the springtime and we'll get a first class plant out of them. But there's still lots to be potting off here. I've got the grapevines to sort out, got the garlics to finish off, and I've got loads of plants down home to bring up. I posted on my Facebook page last night. I've got my fuchsias, I've got my begonias, loads of stuff to dig out the flowering pots that I haven't managed to get done yet, but I can't do any heavy lifting whatsoever for the next 6 weeks, so I've got to go very careful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to empty my pots out down home, or my son can empty them out onto the patio, and I'll bring the plants out and I'll put a couple in a carrier bag each day and just bring them up here, especially the fuchsias. I've got about 10 fuchsias down there that I want keeping. So I can tip 2 or 3 into a carrier bag and just carry them up, not too much weight, and then once I'm up here I've got my mix made up, I've got my pots, I can put them up and they can sit in the bottom polytunnel where it's nice and cool, or in the bottom of the greenhouse here. We've got loads of repairs to be done. There's polythene split all over the place, so with the last gales the last 4 or 5 weeks, so we've got loads of repair work to be done, but unfortunately that's going to have to wait until next year. I'm going to wait until January and February, unless I can get myself pulled together long before then, because me and Roger like working together, especially on jobs like that. You can't do a job like that on your own. You've got to have somebody with you. I've learned that after I had my last accident up here. If Roger hadn't been up here with us, I would have been a goner. But that's it anyway. So we're getting our garlic started. The spring cabbage are finished. This bed here is nearly finished. It's just got to be we've just got to put a couple of markers in and find out what the score is on that one and that bed. I haven't measured that yet. But what I'm thinking of doing is using that again for some early potatoes and a couple of rows of them cauliflowers that I'm going to plant tomorrow, and the broccoli. I might put a couple of rows of broccoli in there. So once again, it's a cabbage family. It's going to take all excess nutrients out of that bed, clean it up. It'll be spot on for next year for putting peppers and chilies and that in, which is what the new bed and the 4th tunnel is going to be for next year. Once them potatoes come out and the garlics come out, it'll be May, June, which is perfect. We'll have some nice big peppers in pots and they can go straight into the new bed. That'll be fantastic. So we're well on track again. We've got lots to do inside and outside. I've got a big bed here to clean out, and that's the beetroots we planted in here, if you remember, in the beginning of last year. I've got 2 big beds in here, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to clear the beetroots. The carrots have come out. The carrots are pretty good. Beetroots are marvellous. There's a great crop in here. We'll clear them off, and what I'm going to do in January is to sow me parsnips in these 2 beds here. So what I want to do is once again, I want to take a reading of these beds, see what they're at. They'll probably want a good liming, a little bit of manure. Blood, fish and bone will do for that if I'm just putting parsnips in. I don't want to put any heavy manure in because the roots will fork and split. So it'll either be bone meal or blood, fish and bone, and then we can water and feed later on as it grows. So I've got 2 big tanks here, and no doubt I'll get 3 good rows in each one of some parsnips. Now I've got the parsnip tapes again this year. They're great, from once again from King's, and you can just pull a tape out to the size of one, cut it, put your tape in, water it, cover over your bit of soil, and it's away. Fantastic. So that's a job for next year. But I'll get them all cleaned up. Like you see, I'll get the measurements and get the readings of the soil, see what they're like. Always like to do that in the latter months of the year. Try and find out what all your readings are on your beds, and then you're well on your way to get them all ready for next year. But anyway, small video, that's all. Just let you know I'm still here. I'm making good progress. Still a bit slow, but I'll get there. What I want to do next week, definite. I've got to get the dahlia started. Now that's another job I'm going to have to take my time with. I'll just take my fork and gently ease the roots out, and Roger can pull the whole lot out. Once again, a lot of comments online, people asking how to store your dahlia tubers. Now I've grew dahlias for 40 years now, and storing them could be one of the difficult parts or one of the easiest parts. It depends on how you go about it. If you want to spend the time cleaning them up, get them nice and clean, before you put them in, don't just dig them up and hide them in a box, cover them with a bit of peat and expect them to last until next year, because they'll not. you've got to spend a little bit of time on your dahlias. So we'll do that next week. What I've also got to do is the sweet peas. I want to get my sweet peas in this weekend, so we'll start the video off with them. We'll get the sweet peas and the dahlias done, and then the week after we must get outside and get started on the fruit. The strawberries are okay at the moment. They're sitting on the back bed there, fantastic. I tilted over so any heavy rains is just running off them, but they're looking lovely and fresh. What I don't want is any feed. I notice some people have been posting online that are feeding them. What you don't want to do is to feed them. You don't want to feed the roots at this time of year. Let them die back. That's what's happening now. They're dying back. Don't give them any extra feed because they'll just give out fresh growth, and that's what you don't want. So they're just sitting on the back there. Any dead leaves that's coming on, we'll just pull them off, keep them nice and clean. And what I'll be doing with them is just checking them middle of next month, give them a good spraying before the really weather turns cold. I'll give them a good spraying again, just make sure there's no bugs or anything on them, and then they'll not get touched again until next January. Before we get them brought inside, we'll bring them in, any dead leaves pull off, give them a good spraying again, and they'll get hung up in the bottom polytunnel. But that's 3 months away that. But strawberries sorted. The raspberries definitely need doing. I've got to cut them back. That's another big job I've got to do. Cut all the old stems out and tie all the new ones in, so we'll incorporate that in the next video as well. And of course we'll go around our fruit trees. We've got our grapevines to check up on, make sure the stems are nice and clean. The apples, the pears, the plums. What I like to do is to go around once all the leaves are down, they're nice and clean, check the box, make sure there's no damaged branches. If there is, cut them off, and I like to just make a little bit of chase fluid, a little bit of oil in the water, cooking oil, a bit of chase fluid, and get the chunks of good spraying. But we'll do all that when we get into the fruit video in a couple of weeks time. But for the time being, I'm going to get myself away, but it's just stopped raining there now, thank God. It's going to give us a window of about half an hour to slowly walk back down home, and then get back in my seat again and get my catalogues out. I say, got a pile of catalogues like that sitting at the back, sitting at my seat down home, and the wife's keep looking over wondering when I'm going to take them out and put them back up in my room. But that's a job a couple of weeks time. I always like to go through the catalogues and see what's new, see what's coming up in the world, changed year by year. But as I say, I always like to try something new or something different every year. And this year what I did, I planted a lemon seed. I wanted to get a couple of orange pips. I'll do that next year. But there's me lemon plant growing away quite nicely, just in the cold greenhouse here, no special heat at all. What I'll do with this one, I'll take it down to the melon house when the weather really turns cold. I'll not be putting any heat on, but the melon house is inside the polytunnel, so it's giving an extra bit of protection. It's going to keep that frost free, and that's where my sweet peas will end up in. But as I say, with the sweet peas, you don't want to put them in any heat. But we'll do all that in the next programme when we'll talk about the fruit and flowers. Okay, so I'm going to get on while this rain's eased off. Keep enjoying your plots. Thanks for all the comments. If you can't wait for the videos, I know it's been, I can't remember how long, I think it's been 4 weeks since I made a video, but we've got that much to do in the next few weeks, so I'm sure we'll manage to put a little video out every week for the next few weeks on the run to Christmas. Dare I say that word, Christmas? Well, it's just one of them times of year that I love. We'll get a little bit of respite, not up the plot, but we're on here every day for Christmas Day. As I say, there's always something to do, always things to be done. If we're not doing work on the greenhouses or the polytunnels or the garden, we're inside planting, and that's what we'll be doing next week. We'll do a little bit more planting, a bit more potting off, and we'll crack on with 1,000 of their jobs that's got to be done. But for the time being, just keep on enjoying your plots. As I say, if you can't wait for the video, get on my Facebook page. It's Jeff Foreman on the plot, and send a friend's request, and we'll get you on the plot. I'm on there most nights. As I say, over the last couple of weeks since I've come out of the hospital, I haven't gotten as much done as what I like to do, but hopefully we'll get that sorted out the next couple of weeks once I start getting back to full health. But for the time being, enjoy your plots, enjoy your vegetables. There's some great veg coming out, some great pictures, some of the crops that you've had. Done really well, some of them. I've been over the moon with mine. I thought we would have had a poor year this year, but we've been fortunate. We've had some good crops, and we're enjoying them now. And that's what it's all about. So, a week's time, hopefully. See you all then. What you doing? Bye for now.